Wake up. Okay? If you haven't figured this out, can anybody tell me a non-losing strategy for tic-tac-toe? Yes. See, you learned something new now. So you should never play this game. It's like there's a game where you cannot lose. What's the point in playing it? After a while, you'll get sick of it. You're hoping for some bozo. You let them go first. He hasn't yet heard this trick, and he'll say they'll lose. Aha, you lost. That's what we do. Right? Tic-tac-toe is not a game. It's solved. Any solved game, and of course, it's solved, and not only, and to be able to solve the game, in essence, what you need to do, excuse me, would you like to go out and sleep somewhere else? Thank you. So, what you need to do, if you have to solve it, you need to make this entire tree. For tic-tac-toe, it's actually possible to do. For chess, no. There are more nodes in the chess game tree than there are atoms in the universe. Don't even get me started about Go. You see what I'm saying? So, many of these have hugely large search trees. Thankfully, that's why they are not solved. Okay? Yes, sir. What? Again, please understand one extremely important point right now. Okay? Solve versus win over the bozos. Okay? Winning over the rest of the humans doesn't mean you have solved the game. You are just better than them. And then somebody from Mars will come, you will lose to them. The only way you can be sure that across the galaxy nobody can beat you in this game is if you have proven to yourself that you have solved the game. That means there is a winning strategy. Showing that there is a winning strategy is basically impossible for large games, unless there happens to be some fluke of structure in the space. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why it's kind of interesting. And in fact, this is part of the reason why, even though chess and Go have huge search trees, you think they are somehow solved. They are not solved. You just beat Lee Sedol. He's from the Earth, not from Mars, not a supercomputer. So you just did better than him. That's no big deal. Okay, if you are trying to find what should be your speed such that nobody can go faster than you. On Earth, whoever is the current reigning Olympic champion with or without doping, and you should go faster than them. If you consider the entire universe, see, light, speed of light. Until you go with the speed of light, you can't be sure that you will never be overtaken. You could be extremely happy saying, I'm like an Olympic champion. That just means that, the nearest car will overtake you. Again, please understand this. Solving is different from doing better than the other players. Okay? Yes, go ahead.
Can the game become solved, like if the opponent makes a mistake?
No, okay, again. Solving is not winning and losing. Solving essentially says, irrespective. Actually, what is the... okay, so here's a beautiful joke. Thankfully, I remember it at the right time. Okay, so these two super intelligent robots are playing the game of chess. So first robot takes 3 full minutes and makes a move. The second robot, chess or some game, let's say chess. Second robot takes 3 minutes and says, I give up. You see what I'm saying? One of the things is, if the entire tree below you has no win for you, you may not notice it. You may still keep making more and more moves, and basically because your brain is small. Okay, and you don't see far enough. And these super intelligent robots, essentially, there's no fun for them to play chess because essentially the moment they make the move, they see already. So that's why, have you ever seen a happy robot? You saw the Star Wars robots, because they have no fun. The moment, there's nothing left interesting for them. So that's the point. Solving essentially means irrespective of who your opponent is, what their computational capabilities is, it doesn't matter. You have a winning strategy. But on the other hand, whether or not you will win over a specific opponent could depend on all sorts of things like do they make mistakes? Or do you make mistakes? Any of these things will come into play. Okay? Those are very different things. So a game is considered solved if it can be shown that the max player has a winning or at least non-losing strategy. This means that the backed up value in the full min-max tree is positive. In fact, if you can show it to be positive, that means it's solved in favor of max. If it is negative, it is solved opposite to max, in which case max should stop playing those games. Should never play a game where you're guaranteed to lose. Right? If it's not either of those, if either of those are not true, then it's still fun playing because it depends on the opponent and your opponent's strategies. Okay? That's what remembering. Okay, so here is the question. We looked at this already. From now onwards, it's basically, this is game research. That's it. There are two more things we'll talk about. One is how to do this search if I have a tree. Assume in the beginning, full tree. All I care about is there is some tree where the lowest nodes have some numbers attached to them, which is their values. Leaf nodes have values. Currently, we are assuming they are the terminal values. Little later, we'll assume those are the heuristic values. Okay? That's the only difference. Okay? So, if I give you a tree like this, the question is, what's the best way to evaluate this? You saw this. You just did a min 3, a min 2, a min 2, max of 3, 2, 2, 3. Done. This is not the way you are going to write a program. Right? In particular, let me ask two questions. Imagine a game where there is a branching factor B and depth D. That means you apply basically you opponent, this is depth 2. Okay? Let's say branching factor B in this case is 3. Suppose I have a game tree, some uniform game tree, branching factor B and depth D. How much time do you think you will spend doing the min-max computation? Did you guys see that? Because you will essentially have to go through each of these nodes. So B power D is the amount of time you spend to figure out the value that comes up here. How much space? How much space will you? Somebody should take responsibility. Speak up. Raise your hand and say what is it? Yes. Why is B times D? How would you get B times D? Did I get B times D when I did this just now? No, that's I don't care about that. B times D plus 2 extra points or something, I don't care. Okay. Is it B power D or B times D? Those are the big differences. How do you get B times D here? You have to do depth first search on that tree. You have to do depth first search on that tree. It's important to realize that typically all the homework problems and all the ways of understanding min-max make you look at the tree all at the same time. You would never look at the entire tree. You would actually slowly expand the tree in a depth first fashion. This is very important. Okay? First of all, if you don't do depth first search, you won't get B times D. Second of all, if you're doing depth first search, there is this beautiful idea called alpha beta pruning. which allows you to sometimes stop expanding huge pieces of the search tree without even looking at it. Without even looking at it. And guarantees that whoever you didn't look would not change the final value. Did you understand what I'm saying? So that's alpha beta pruning, and it only works because actually, first of all, you're doing depth first, and you are able to realize certain structural properties of the search which will allow you to say, oh, this other part I'm not just even going to look at. Very darn impressive. Okay? Those are the two things that we're going to talk about in a minute. But before that, before I go forward, notice the following thing. The value that you get here, you realize it will be one of the values here. It's just a simple point, but it's useful to know. Right? It's not true all the time. It is true for deterministic games with min-max strategy. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Okay. So what am I doing now? Okay, so what I'm going to do actually is, let's forget about this stuff. What I'm going to do is actually do both the depth first and alpha beta pruning at the same time. Because in fact, if you're doing depth first search, alpha beta pruning says, please use me. Just please use me. And so I'll do both of them at the same time. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay? So, 2 for 1. So I started essentially with, remember this is the tree, in case you, of course unfortunately you can't see this, but this is the original tree you had. Okay? And I'm basically, you don't, remember that the tree that you have, you don't know. You only, the program only sees the parts of the tree it expands. Remember, this is a very big point we made earlier, which is implicit search graphs. This is the big difference between all the search you did in 310 and the search you do here. 310, the graph was extensional. It was in front of you. Here the graph was implicit. Is implicit. It basically is defined in terms of the node and child generator functions. And just expanding the entire graph takes time. And much of what A-star search does, much of what even this approach does with alpha beta pruning is to be able to cut pieces knowing that they won't affect. Okay? So, in this case, I'm just going to do, depth first search. So, I will basically start from here, right? And I'll come here first. These three didn't exist. Don't look at it right now. And I'll ask, are you a terminal node? It says no. Okay? Then I go further down. I'll say, are you a terminal node? It says yes. I say, what's your value? It says 3. At this point, I know that below me there is a 3. This node is a min node. Do I know what the value would be here in the end? Do I have a bound on it? What's the bound? It has to be less than or equal to 3. Right? For a min node, the moment it sees a child, its value basically, you now know that its value is at least less than or equal to 3. By the way, that's called the beta bound. In the alpha beta, that's called the beta bound, but that doesn't matter. So now I have less than or equal to 3, then I go up, I come down, I see a 12. So then I take minimum of my current bound, which is 3, and 12, which is 3. So my new bound is still less than or equal to 3. Then I go here. I see an 8. I take the minimum of my current bound and 8, which is again 3. and I now have a bound still less than or equal to 3. Then I say, give me the next child. The program says, sorry, you no longer have any more children. At this point, you say, whatever is my bound is my value. You see what I'm saying? I'm acting like a program now. Whatever is my bound is my value if I have no more children. Okay? After I saw 8 and that's over, then this becomes an actual value 3. Now, the moment I have a 3 here, here is the interesting thing. This guy now has a real value. Do I know something about this guy now? I have a bound. That bound is greater than or equal to 3. Right? Because this guy is a max. Okay? So, the depth first I'm doing, and then on the way to doing depth first, I'm keeping track of the bounds. That's why I'm saying they're crying out. Please just keep track of the information that we are giving you. And if you don't do it, then you're just not a computer science person. Okay? By the way, so here's the other thing that we talk about. In a minute, it will become clear why this is useful, but alpha beta pruning is one of those ideas. If you don't do it, that means you're just not a computer science person, you don't know how to program, you don't think. It's not one of those things where maybe if somebody told me I would use it. No, it's not like a heuristic. It's just the obvious way of computation. Okay? It's just, that's what you're supposed to do. Okay? So anyway, that's greater than or equal to 3. Now, the great animation starts. I'm going to basically get the next guy. And so that's my next min node from here. Okay? And that min node has children. Okay? And the first child is 2. That means this will be less than or equal to 2. Right? Okay? Then I should get the next child. Should I? Should I? Why not? Because this guy will never take anything other than a 3 minimum. So whatever the heck I do here, and remember you are seeing the real tree. And in fact, your program doesn't know what the tree is. In fact, what you are not looking at here might be as big as a whole chess tree. But you still decided, I don't care. I just don't care. Because this thing is going to be, because of this guy, this is going to be less than or equal to 2. Min will never let anything more than 2 go up. And the guy above will never take anything less than 3. So who am I trying to impress at this point? By doing search like below here, a huge amount of search. You see what I'm saying? If you are doing this search, it's worse than just, I don't know. It's like basically we are being stupid. That's why I'm saying alpha beta pruning. It's just you are supposed to realize there is no reason for you to do search here. And second thing, did I look at what is here? In fact, you can barely even see what is not written here. Right? You never even knew what I put here. Suppose I go ahead and change some of the stuff here, some of this part of the tree, such that it become much bigger. Would my decision have changed? No. It's very important. The reason I'm saying all this stuff is it will become clear in a minute that alpha beta pruning is the big, whatever, like the monster of AI midterms. Everybody thinks it's extremely hard. Okay, it's not at all hard. You're just doing the obvious thing. And people wind up focusing on all the wrong things. Like for example, if you ever say, do you want to expand the rest of the tree or not? And you say, let me see the tree, then you are expanding it. Let me ask you the following question. You have, again, we're going back to the dating games, you have figured out this person who you are currently considering as your partner. And you have to make a decision. Am I going to stop playing and settle down, or am I going to look more? Looking more, he is actually looking more. You see what I'm saying? At some point of time, I have decided by my whatever alpha beta pruning, that nothing can be better. Nothing can be better. Seriously. Looking is looking. Okay? There is no such thing as, let me just look at a little bit of the tree. Oh, you look at the entire tree, you're dead. You wasted all your time. And you would die unmarried or unconnected or whatever. Right? Right? So, anyway. So, I cut that off already. Now, because I cut this off, I might as well just say, since I'm not going to look at any more children, I'll act as if it's true. But really, it doesn't matter. This is a losing branch. Nobody from this branch is ever going to affect what the game does. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, but you save time right now. You just save time. Okay, continue. So that's what it said. Cut. Okay, with a cut there. If I continue, and then I can do this. The next one, I have a 14. That means this is less than or equal to 14. Cut. This is the other thing. In the middle of the midterm exam, you feel like cutting everything. But more cuts, the better. So something is always greater than or less than or equal to something. So I just assume everything is a cuttable. So will your marks be. So clearly this is not cuttable. Because this guy wants something greater than 3. This guy says, I won't give you anything less than 14. Between 3 and 14, there are still lots and lots of options. So you can't cut it. Now I go forward. I get a 5 here. So I look at a 5. There is a 14 as the bound. There is a 5. So I take the minimum, in this case minimum of 14 and 5, and that becomes the new bound. So this becomes less than or equal to 5. Cut. No cut. Okay? Now, at this point, I have a 2. I have a 2 right now. Okay? At this point, this becomes less than or equal to 2. Do you cut? It's very important. You might be saying, what is there? I know that there's no more stuff left. How do you know? That means you actually went and played the entire word before getting here. So you cut. At the less than or equal to 2, you cut. It just so happened that what you cut is 0 nodes. Here is the important thing. When you stop looking, you don't know how many people you start looking. That's it. It's true. And if you say, I better look at the people I won't look, then you are in some la la land. Okay? So, that's it. That's alpha beta pruning plus depth first search. And I did depth first search. I never had on the open list anything more than B times D nodes. And I'm maintaining these bounds for every node that I'm updating. In fact, it doesn't really matter. It so happens that these are called the alpha bounds. These are called the beta bounds. And here's a very interesting other question. In fact, even though this is just a 2-layer tree, imagine you had multi-layered tree. Okay? Somewhere along this, there was some node that basically, there was some node which said less than or equal to 2. I still don't have to expand anything further below that node. Do you see what I'm saying? So the actual cutoff is my beta, if I'm a min node, I ask, is my beta cutoff smaller than any of my ancestors' alpha cutoffs? And I have both min and max ancestors. Only max ancestors will have alpha cutoffs. It's not actually important to remember alpha and beta. It's more important to remember greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. And this is alpha beta pruning. And in fact, as I said, the cutoff can occur across levels. That would be called deep pruning. But it's the same idea. It's the same idea. There is no difference. Okay. Let's see. So basically, okay. Look at this tree. This one does have multiple layers. Okay, can you guys do min-max on this very quickly? Since I showed you everything, you don't have to be a computer. Just tell me what the backed up value is. So this would be what value? This would be what value here? 3 and 4. 3 and 4 here is a maximum. Max 4. This is 7 and 9. So 6, 4 and 9. 4 and 5 is 4. 3 and 8. 4, 4 and 3. Which is the child you're taking?
B.
It doesn't matter. They're equal. So anybody who's giving you a 4, that's your choice. You don't have to kill yourself. Okay? So I can just basically say this 4, I'll just take this 4. Whatever. Yeah. So that's what I did. Now here's my question. Can you do alpha beta pruning on this? If you do this, you understand how alpha beta pruning works. Right? Here's your assignment for yourself. Do alpha beta pruning on this and check what gets cut off and what the value is. And in case you're worried whether or not you got the right answer, is actually an alpha beta pruning example on the YouTube that I made back in 2012, and it has 249,558 views. And whether or not I am teaching intro to AI, I know when is it midterm time. Because across the world, somebody would be putting some comment on that YouTube video. Saying, are you sure? Should I be looking before cutting? Okay? So also, by the way, when you look at this, I'm trying to monetize, they'll show you some YouTube video. Please watch it all the way. Because that's the only way I'll get the money. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, so there is that alpha beta pruning. Try to do this yourself and check. This is only 4-minute video. Okay, I spent a lot more time explaining to you. What? Plus the ads, yeah. Plus the ads, yes, obviously. Yes, so you should look at that, and by the way, hopefully in this class, nobody would ever think alpha beta pruning is some sort of a hard thing. It's not. It's just dumb bound madness. The kind of thing computers are made to do. The kind of things people are bad at, which means they make for good midterm exam questions. Right? Because we're always trying to tell computers are taking the exam or people are taking the exam. So that's the thing. Okay, here's the interesting question. In fact, let's go back here. So we saw this guy, basically there was a cut here, right? In this example, after 2 we cut it. Imagine the following thing. Remember, when you expanded this, you get children. The children can be put on the queue in any order for doing that first search. Suppose you wound up putting the children 6, 4, and 2. The other way around. Would you have cut? Do you see what I just said? Whether or not you cut depends on the order in which you look. Are you surprised? Whether or not you will continue to date depends on the order in which you look. Right? It's the same. Okay? So it turns out that actually, depending on the order, alpha beta pruning can cut lots or not cut anything at all. Like at all. The question is, when it cuts lots, how much is lots? If you are not a computer science student, you can just say lots and be done with it. Okay? In fact, if you are not a computer science student, you can say the problem is hard. It's real hard. Very hard. Unfortunately, that's not allowed in computer science. You have to talk about polynomial complexity, exponential complexity, decidable, undecidable, X space, P space, all that stuff. That's what makes you a computer science student. So the real question is, in this particular scenario, I know that in the best case, it can cut. How much can it cut in the best case? So the B power D nodes, right? In a uniform tree. What do you think would be the number of nodes it can cut? After it cuts from B power D, will it become what? B times D? B power D minus 1? It's not obvious, right? It turns out, so somebody had to do this work. So this is actually tells you how all the computer science stuff is interleaved, because the guy who did this analysis, this is technical one, that's okay, but the analysis that I just showed a while back, okay, that's all. This analysis, this tells you exactly how many nodes for the uniform tree. That guy is Knuth. Donald Knuth. How many of you have heard Donald Knuth's name? The rest of you find a different major or find out who he is. Okay? He has written The Art of Algorithms, volumes 1, 2, 3, and said it's too painful to get this typeset. Let me just figure out a program for typesetting. He's a theoretician. And he invented LaTeX, which all of us now use. And then went back to start writing. And he's still alive, by the way. Very impressive guy. Donald Knuth is, obviously one of the Turing Award winners, and he's like a giant of computer science. So it's Donald Knuth and von Neumann are involved in this class. It wasn't Jan LeCun and his kid. Right? It's old stuff. Okay? So anyway, this is how the best tree looks, and it's not obvious until you think a little bit. The best tree, for example, this part, I'm just showing what, 4 levels. In this part, it has to look at all these 3. It couldn't have cut before. After it looked at these 3, it would have gotten a value here, at which point it would have gotten a bound here, at which point it will look this to get a bound here, and if it's really lucky, then it can stop in that branch. And similarly,